Let's go now to a gentleman whom I met last week at the Air Canada Centre. And in a world where performance is something that everyone's looking to achieve, is a gentleman by the name of Timothy Barlow, and he's a life coach and a guy that coaches high-performance executives and deals with athletes, and his website is madtoglad.com. Timothy, thanks for doing this. How are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you, Joey?
I'm doing well, and had the pleasure of meeting you last week, and I was intrigued with what you do. And explain to me exactly what it is you do to help people feel better about themselves and perform better and get through life, which, as you know, we know yesterday was World Mental Health Day. A lot of people focusing on the fact that you need to take care of yourself, and that's something that you help people do.
Well, yeah, and thank you for having me on. Basically, what I help people do, I'm described as a life coach. I prefer the term perspective coach because I really believe that what we get in our life is basically coming from what we see. So I help people with their perspective in terms of what lens are you looking at the world through. And some of us can get trapped in the micro of life, meaning we can't see the forest for the trees. And others can get trapped in the macro, meaning they're looking at such a big picture that they're not really taking any steps to move forward in their life.
So when someone comes to you and says that they're in a rut, they feel depressed, they're anxious, what's the first thing you do?
Well, the first thing I do is provide a safe place for them. Because I think a lot of us are just looking for that safe place to tell the truth, and not so much our conscious intellectual truth, but more how we're feeling or our emotional truth. And so I provide a safe place for them to do that, and then start to, kind of like a puzzle, just lay the pieces out on the table and start to feed back to them a little bit the world that they're seeing. It's neither right nor wrong, but as George Costanza says, it's not a lie if you believe it. But it's really is the way that I'm seeing the world giving me the end result that I say I want.
Okay, now give me some of the challenges that people tell you. And again, the website is madtoglad.com, and you are a perspective coach. I guess everything is in perspective. People see things a certain way, and it's the worst thing in the world, and other people see it, it's the best thing in the world. So what are some of the challenges that people present to you?
I would say almost always, Joey, it's an emotional issue, not really an intellectual one. That we think that, well, we just change our thoughts. If we were really in conscious control of our lives, then that would be easy. But it would be like if a manic depressive came into my office and I said, well, just cheer up. That should take care of things. And that's not really what it's about. Everything we're seeing in the world, we have an emotional response to, and that's our unconscious. So it's taking a look and saying, how am I responding to what I'm seeing? And Viktor Frankl has a quote that I really live by, and it says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're then challenged to change ourselves. And so when we're looking out into the world with that lens on our camera, I think many of us don't entertain the idea that those lenses are interchangeable, that we can zoom into things, we can pull back, and we can start to take a look at the underlying core beliefs that are contributing to the world that we see. And it can be a very small belief, something, cultural or sometimes religious. Sometimes it can be from an experience we had when we were younger, and then we've locked a paradigm in place that skews everything we see.
Okay, final question. Someone comes to you and they don't have a clue about what they want to be, what they want to do. They've hit that point in their life where they're not fulfilled. And athletes go through this all the time. When I've talked to a bunch of guys who retire, and women as well, they retire, and then all of a sudden they don't know what to do. They don't know what to be. They don't know how to acclimate. They don't know what their next step is. And we see this in pro sports all the time. And a lot of guys go into the front office. A lot of women do as well. But there are people that don't and lose their way, and things don't end well. What do you tell someone who's in that situation?
Well, you hit both points. That first, many people, their self-esteem comes from what they do. Everything is about do. What can I get? How do I get it? Their approval comes from doing a good thing. So even when we're in school, you get a gold star, or if you clean your room, you get your allowance. Everything is that carrot and stick type mentality. What I introduce people to and invite them to take a look at is, who do you want to be while you're doing what you do? And I think that when you're taking care of who you are and your character, then everything else kind of falls in place with that. Gandhi kind of summed it up well because a lot of people are saying, well, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And he said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in alignment. And many of us are thinking one thing but saying another, or we're saying one thing and yet doing another. And so just to line those up and redefine what we term success. Many people look at success as how much money I made or what position I hold. For me, success is when I put my head on the pillow at night, can I fall asleep? And do I like who I was that day? And then to wake up the next day, and if I didn't, then to improve on that.
Timo, as I like to call you, thank you very much for doing this. And, of course, you can go to his website, madtoglad.com. And, look, bottom line is, there's so much going through, and Timothy Barlow is his name, madtoglad.com. And I just was intrigued when I met you because you were one of those guys instantly relatable to, and you seem like you help a lot of people, and appreciate your time. So thanks a lot for doing this, and hopefully we will bump into you again soon.
Thank you, Joey, and enjoy the game tonight.